Astrology is not shirk, and neither is karma. These things have the potential to become shirk or witchcraft, but in its essence, they're not. Shirk, Islamically, and it's just associating something with godlike powers, okay? So a lot of people start claiming like astrology is shirk or karma is shirk. I think the misconception happens because a lot of people don't really understand what astrology is or what karma is. Nobody is worshiping karma. People think karma is shirk because you're associating godlike powers. Let me simplify karma for you. All karma is, for every action, there's a reaction. That's it. And if you want to, nobody's praying to karma. You can't pray to karma. Your actions determine that. That's your free will, essentially, right? And if somebody wants to call a force like karma shirk because you're associating godlike powers to it, why not call gravity shirk? You jump up in the air and there's an invisible force that's keeping you down. Obviously, that's not a shirk. There's certain laws that God has set in place. And these things are all laws of God. They're not taking God's place. No one's worshiping gravity. They're not taking God's place. All these things come from God. Astrology is basically the same thing. If it is shirk to get understanding of the future, like based off astrological events, wouldn't the weather also be shirk? Picking up your phone right now and checking the 10-day forecast and planning 10 days ahead, you know the future off of that. And the thing is, astrology has come from a place where, from ancient Rome to Greeks to Egypt to India, everybody has agreed on the same concepts as the planets and the stars without ever having met each other. So that should tell you its validity on that. Compare it just like the weather. Astrology is pretty vague. I mean, even like the weather, right? Say there's a tornado outside. The weather's not controlling you to stay inside. You are choosing to stay inside. It's just telling you there's a tornado outside. You still have the free will to go outside, do whatever you want to do. Same thing with astrology, right? But they're usually vague events. So like things like, oh, a star has rotated or a planet has rotated into a certain position. These are the type of events that can follow. You still have the free will to go outside, do whatever you want to do, but they're more like precautionary things. Okay, the planets are doing this right now, so it's best for you to avoid certain activities. The same way in the weather, if there's a tornado outside, no one's forcing you to stay inside or outside. You can do whatever you want to do, but preferably you seek shelter. It's not like these Western gamified horoscopes. That shit is fake. That is not real. Anybody a trash can's gonna fall in front of you today. That's not how astrology works. Anybody who's like telling you like shit like that is like just playing you. So the problem with astrology can become when people start worshiping the stars and the planets, and instead of using them as like a guidance system. So it's the same thing as the weather, right? Say the weatherman comes up and gives you a 10-day forecast. Instead of using that as information to plan your day or plan your week, trip, whatever, and you begin to worship the weather or the weatherman, it then becomes shirk because you are now worshiping the messenger and the actual map. Hope that makes sense.